Vincent from Chester Cottage, Georgetown area. Anybody knows Chester Cottage? Yeah. All right. Sure, it's right up to Byron Hill if you're going to Georgetown. That's right. She is a registered nurse by profession, but she holds a Master of Science in Nursing with focus on education. She's a recent author of several books, including one called A Chick Called Victor. And you will see, well, I'm glad that we've given you such a mixture, because you've seen and heard from persons who are multi-skilled. And this lady is such a person. So I'm delighted to offer you Ophelia Meyer to speak to you today.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone again. Good afternoon. All right, how is everybody? When I was given when Mr. Allen called me and told me that he was wondering if I can present after lunch, I was like, why would he pick after lunch to give me? Because by then everybody is all drowsy because your blood flow is all get to what's the stomach, and then the concentration and everything is affected. But nevertheless, I am one for taking up a challenge, so I just went with the flow, and here I am today, and I'm pretty much pleased to see the turnout. Very good. I see 1, 2, 3 males. That's good. Good. Welcome. It's always good to have a mix. All right. So my topic for today is looking at adversity in a different light. And when I say adversity, what comes to mind? Adversity, adverse. Anything comes to mind? Ever heard the word before? Adversity? Somebody? No? But then have you heard adversity? What comes to mind? Okay. All right, so when you hear, when the term adversity talks about suffering, hardship, difficulty, pain, things going against you, circumstances going against you. So it's basically you trying to get one way, but there are things, there are stumbling blocks in your way. And you are pretty young, so if so it's still fairly kind of in terms of experience. I'm sure you've had adversities before in your life, but it's just that you've never really related and say, okay, this is adversity. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. But as you go out into the world, you're going to meet adversities. You're going to have challenges, difficulties, sufferings, and stumbling blocks. I'd like to start with a quote because I always love to start with a quote. And I have some notes here because I just need to give you guarantee so that you can have some points to remember. Adversity causes some men to break, others to break records. And that's a quote by William Arthur Warren. So it causes some men to break, they will give up, quit, and others, it will cause them to break records, to achieve things that they never thought was possible. And I have 2 facts that I want to tell you that you're gonna, 1, in life you are going to encounter adversities. You are going to encounter challenges. I'd love to tell you otherwise, but you are going to encounter challenges. And 2, how you respond to these challenges is going to determine your quality of your life. So 1, you're going to experience adversities. 2, how you respond to these adversities is gonna determine the quality of your life. So if you know you're going to experience adversity, what do? You prepare for adversity. And you don't just sit and say, oh, I'm going to take, but you go with the flow, but you start preparing yourself. You start doing things that when challenges come, that you will be ready. At least you have the basics. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. In my life, I've experienced a lot of adversity. I finished school at 17. I went to school. I had my challenges. I became a single mother at 19. My son is now 20 years old. He just recently graduated the community college here. Even after that, I could not get a job, so I was basically home, not working. That in itself was a lot of stress. Eventually, after knocking on so many doors, knocking, sending applications everywhere, I was accepted into the nursing profession, and that was at the age of 22, almost 23 years old. It was 2 weeks before my 23rd birthday. So you're here today, and you're going to be graduated soon, and you're all expectant that you're going to find something to do, right? You're going to think, okay, well, I have LFOs, I'm ready for the job market, at least to get a basic job, then I can go on to study. Some people here, their parents will be able to afford to send them off to study immediately. Some of you will have to work first because you're from families where they cannot afford to do so. But what if you don't get a job? What if when your results come back, you have all the perfect scores, the grades, but you don't have a job? That would be an adversity. Because then you have to start thinking, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit down at home and wait? There are some people home at 25 years old and never really had a good job. Finished college, I have nieces who finished college, had their subjects, and still yes program now and again. But what are you going to do? Do you want to sit for 5 years on the yes program, or 2 years, or sit at home not doing anything? So this is where this topic comes in. It's gearing you towards thinking outside of the box. Preparing, what if I don't have a job? What am I going to do? Am I going to sit and break as adversity break you, or am I going to break a record? Right, so my first point, it all starts in the mind. Whatever you are going through, just remember that when dealing with adversity, it all starts in the mind. If you look at your challenges and you put down your hands and say, I'm not going to try, then that is what the mind is going to lead you towards. Right? So, one of the things you do when you're trying to control your thoughts, you remain calm, about the situation. And sometimes don't get me wrong, when it's happening, you might be frustrated, you might cry, and that's okay. But after you've cried, you have to refocus, so you remain calm about the situation. You control your thoughts, and you try to see the lessons in whatever you are experiencing. And you try to look for opportunities. You have your subjects. What else can I do besides applying to the government for a job? Is there a skill that I have coming out of these subjects? Do I have a talent? Do I have an interest, a genuine curiosity for something? Maybe you did computer IT, for instance, and you're interested in the computer. You're online every day and you're interested in social media. You're interested in writing, communication. So you start thinking, how can I make this into something that I both love and can generate income from? So you start thinking. Doesn't mean that you're going to come up with the answers immediately, but at least you're thinking. Right? And you decide to be brave in spite of your fear, because you're going to have fears. And that's all it starts in the mind. So whatever fears you have, you're going to decide to be brave in spite of how anxious you feel, how fearful you feel. Next point I'd like to give, and I'm not giving them in any particular order. You choose your friendships and relationships wisely. Because when you're experiencing hardships, difficulties, adversity, you don't want to be around people who are going to discourage you. Because as you go through this rough period, you're going to need support. And you can't get support by listening to naysayers, to people who are going to tell you, if you say, okay, well, I can't get a job, so I want to do something else, and you have an idea, maybe you want to create an app, or you want to go into website building, or maybe you want to become a seamstress or a designer. So you tell yourself, I'm going to buy a machine and start sewing at home. Or maybe you want to go into the food industry, or whatever it is, and you have to be careful who you tell your dreams. Because when you tell people your dreams, it's not everybody going to see what you're seeing. You're going to have people, just because they've never done it, they're going to tell you it cannot be done. So you have to choose your friendships wisely. You choose people who are, no matter, sometimes they don't even see your dream, but you choose people who are not dream killers. People who don't tell you, okay, it cannot be done. People who will tell you, I know it's going to be challenging, but go for it. You want people who are going to tell you, go for it. And not only that, in your conversations, who do you relate with? Who do you keep for company? Do you keep people who are always in idle conversation, who want to talk about the next gossip that's happening, or people who are going to talk something constructive or tell you about something that they heard in the news? That is, important that you can relate to somebody who's going to say, okay, hey, I saw this job online and I think you should apply. That's the kind of people you want around you. And even your parents, sometimes you're going to have to, you will listen to them, but sometimes your parents, your relatives can as well, they can discourage you. So you have to be able to know your own mind and just keep your dreams. Tell it to people who are going to encourage you. If you tell it to someone who discourages you, don't bother telling them again. Because you are at a stage, you'll be at a stage where you are unsure as well. And then when you tell somebody else who is going to discourage you, that's going to make you give up and quit. You don't want that. Next point, attend to your spiritual needs. And I insert this point here because it relates to me. I was working in Cayman as a nurse for 4+ years, and in 2014, I decided to come back home because I was doing my internship for my master's degree. And I thought that everything will be fine and dandy. Just like how you're thinking, okay, everything's going to be fine because I am at one stage now. That's the impression I got because, hey, I was graduating with a master's degree. And you think, okay, somebody's going to hire me because that's the illusion that I had. Anyway, because of my decision to come home, I lost my job. And I came home not knowing what was going to happen. I ended up, after much back and forth, I entered to do my internship at the School of Nursing. After finishing the internship, graduating, I was still home without a job. To this day, I've not been employed by any organization. I had to find a way to cope. And I say attend to your spiritual needs because when you are in a hopeless situation like I was, that was basically hopeless for me because I was unemployed, just finished my master's, I had my son going to college, and I had my daughter, and it's like I had rent because I didn't have a home of my own before I left. I have a piece of land. Oh, you can't live on land, it's like you still need money to build a house, and not working, so how do I generate income? I had my savings, but my savings sooner or later would dwindle. So at times I got anxious. I got very anxious because it's like I'm thinking far ahead and I'm thinking, Lord, if I don't get a job soon, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, I'm not going to be able to take care of my family. And in order to calm myself down, I had to try to find belief in something outside of myself. I had to look at my, excuse the emotional, but it's just recollecting, but I had to reach for something outside of myself because you'll find that when you're going through adversities, you're basically going to feel hopeless. at times you will have that hopeless feeling because you're looking ahead and you're not seeing anything. You're not really seeing how things are going to work out for you because you're at challenge after challenge you're experiencing. I had to look outside of myself, and I really realized to myself that the only how that I can get through this rough period was to seek God, and I baptized before my meal. I was praying, but I needed to pray. I needed to find a closer relationship where I could find comfort in the Word of God, that He promised not to leave me nor forsake me. And come unto me all ye who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So you need those comforting words. So if you, because you find if you go to the negative while you're experiencing negative, I could have gone into the dance halls, I could have gone for bad company, I could have gone to smoke and do drugs, but that would just have sunk me more into it give me a temporary relief, and then I would be in more misery. But I chose to attend to my spiritual needs. I chose meditation, 15 minutes a day, talking with God, like if you were a man next to me, and just telling Him my cares and my fears and my worries, and just talking. It helped. Reading the Bible, reading certain verses that brought me comfort, listening to motivational preaching. One of my favorite preachers, Bishop Noel Jones, is very inspiring. He teaches about any life issues, and I just had to listen and just focus because everything inside of me was screaming, okay, it's hopeless. But I needed to find some hope, so I seek to find that in my spiritual aspect. The fourth point, nurture your dreams. And when I say nurture your dreams, I'm pretty sure that you've had dreams even from maybe as young as maybe 4 or 5. You've had dreams, and as you grow, your dreams will get different. You might change them based on what is happening around you. But whatever you do, you have to nurture those dreams. And when I say nurture, think of your dreams as like a plant. A seed. You put it in the ground. You have the foundation. This is the foundation. The fact that you attended college, you've had your subjects. It may not necessarily mean that you get a job in the area that you study, but at least you have a foundation, and no education is wasted. Doesn't matter if you don't do something in what you focus on. And you have this seed, you put it in the ground, and each day you water it. It's like a dream. You have your dream, and each day you do something that's going to help it to grow. Simple as reading a book, listening to something in the field that you're interested in, having conversations with people in the field that you're interested in, attending these workshops, seminars. These are things that you do to nurture your dreams. You explore. What is it that you're interested in? Where can I find resources to build my knowledge in it? What skills do I have that I like to develop? You have a seed, you put it in the ground. You can do 2 things. You can leave it there, and chances are it might grow, but then by the time it sprouts out, you might have other weeds growing around it and killing it. Or you can plant your seed, and you can weed around it, mold it. You could water it every day, and you could watch it grow and blossom into something beautiful. And sometimes at first you don't see like tangible things when you have a dream. Like for instance, my book, you won't see the tangible, but what you will experience is the growth. The inner growth, the change in your behavior from one where you probably was someone who quits. Every time you meet a stumbling block, you quit. To somebody who still bring it on. That's me now. When I encounter challenges, I get real mad sometimes, but I say, well, bring it on, because I know I'm not going to run from whatever, because I've gone through so much that it's kind of like made me more comfortable facing adversity. And so with your dreams, you want to nurture them, you want to water your dreams, and you want to do something every day, if you can possibly, to help elevate and to develop yourself. Even when you're not seeing any evidence that is working, at least you're experiencing the inner growth, and that counts for something, because it's that inner growth that's going to propel you towards what in the end that you will see, which is the tangible things of your effort. The next point is to commit. Commit to whatever that you decide to do. Make a commitment. Just like if your parents ask you to do something, and you say, yes, I'll do it, and I do it, ask yourself, what is it that I can do? Explore it, and you make a commitment that I'm going to do it regardless to whatever is happening. In making a commitment, it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be tired, and there are days when you will not feel like doing anything, and that's okay, because on the days when you feel discouraged, even though you made that commitment, you have to rest to re-energize yourself, because we're not robots, and as much as I say okay that you look fear in the eye and you say I'm going to conquer your stress, it tires you out. So there are times when you are experiencing stress that you just have to leave everything. Just rest it down and take a break. So you have to do that. But even while you are taking a break, you're telling yourself, I'm not giving up. There are many times in my it's almost 3 years now since I haven't had a job. And in January, between October 2014 to December of 2016, I've had more stresses than John could read about. I mean, there are times when I felt like in my heart was like literally like somebody was stabbing me in my heart, because I was so stressed out. Because not only was I out of a job, I was in rent. I was paying $700 a month for more than a year. I needed to move out of that apartment because I needed something a little bit cheaper. I'm looking at my finances. So I have apartment stresses, I have job stresses, I have financial stresses, and all of this coming at me. And there were times when I just had to, just give a good cry. Just give a good cry and rant and have a tantrum. But I kept telling myself, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try something else. I tried travel agents, but you have to be wise, because I tried travel agents. They have this thing online, and I grabbed any opportunity because I just wanted something to do. But when I tried that, it actually needed me to pay $70 US a month. And it sounded good, because the people who are giving you these, selling you these packages, they make it look so good, like, okay, once you've done the training and everything is gonna sail, smooth sailing. But then I realized that I wasn't getting customers. People were inquiring about flights and all of that, but nobody was purchasing. Because it was basically the same, like, okay, if you go and buy the ticket yourself, if you know how to shop around with buying your tickets and your hotel and pay for your hotels, then you didn't need me to do it for you. So I said to myself, well, this is not smart, because if I have to pay $70 a month and I'm not making that back, that is basically like, what's that if I just sit home and don't do anything? So I dropped that quickly. I didn't waste time. I got the benefits out of it. I traveled and I booked my hotel with it, and I saved a couple of $100. So the $70 that I put up in up front didn't get wasted, and I booked myself a hotel and I went for my graduation. After that I came back and I said, no, they say okay for me, but I already got my benefit. And then I tried affiliate marketing. They sold me the package, they told me if I didn't make money with the website that they would give me back my money. I tried it for the amount of time that they said, and then the time deadline coming up to get back my money, and I wanted back my money because I didn't make a cent. And then I started on my long journey with my website, and this is what led me today to being here, because in April of 2008, I'm going ahead. In April of 2016, I got so frustrated that I wanted to just get it out. And I needed an avenue to get the stress out. So I said, okay, what can I do best? Write. I love to write. Then I started doing my writing. I started writing about my experiences, my stresses, and everything. So that's my website, cupidandI.com, where I kept writing. And I didn't just write because I wanted to write. I wrote because I still write because I wanted other people who are experiencing challenges and adversity to really find, could relate to my story and see that there is still hope. So that is what I did to get to the point where I commit. I never gave up. I changed direction many times, but I never gave up. And so you're going to have to unlearn certain things. This point is coming under commitment. In your commitment, you're going to have to unlearn certain things. There is a saying, and I think some of you will heard it, it's like when people in St. Vincent think that you have to go to America to become famous, to become successful. But you're going to have to tell yourself differently that I can be successful no matter where I am in the world. I can do something. Whatever it is your dream is, I can start building my dream right in St. Vincent. I don't need to go to America to build my dream. I didn't go to America to write my book. The internet is just so, it brings everything so close that if it's something that you want to do and it involves international, you can find the sources online. And I published in the US, but I did not enter into the US to do it. I didn't. I just found, I kept pushing and looking for resources, and when I was ready to publish my book, all of the resources, including the drawings, the illustrations in the book, were done by foreigners because I couldn't find anyone in St. Vincent to do the drawings. There's a website, fiverr.com. I went on it and I got a guy from India to do the drawings. The design in the book, I got one woman from Canada. And then the publishing is done on Amazon Create Space. So you don't need to, you have to unlearn that and tell yourself that, okay, I can do whatever I can do from home. I don't need to go out. At this point, I can start building my dreams. And you know what? I wish I could turn back the time to when I was your age, because when I was your age, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it is the simple things that you do every day that determine how your life is going to go. I just thought that success was love, that somebody had to see you and just grab you and just give you something. I didn't see it as, as I have to be the one that's going to have to change and grow and to practice doing the things that I love to do. I didn't think of it that way. I just thought that, okay, if I'm to be successful, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's the things you do, your attitude and your perseverance, your commitment, that's going to take you and propel you forward. Regard and what? You see, when the adversity is coming, don't worry. It rains, right? But it has to stop. It has to stop. The question is, are you willing to go through and to keep going until it stops? Or are you going to give up halfway through and just quit? So you have to ask yourself that question. That's making a commitment to stick to whatever it is, even if it means changing direction. I'm not giving up. I'm looking for something and I have to get it. I'm not giving up. And don't think of it as a journey, as a destination. Think of whatever your life experiences as a journey. Because you never arrive in life. Because as long as you're living, you have to grow, you have to learn. It's a continuous process. You know, you never arrive because as long as you're living, you're always traveling. So don't think, oh, I need to get there. Concentrate on where you are right now and take the time to learn what you need to learn to get there. And you've done that by coming here. This is the first step. I could remember at 23, I was where you are, sitting, when I entered the nursing profession, sitting listening to somebody telling me how it's going to be nursing and what to expect and all of that. And here I am, I never realized I had my dreams, but I never thought that I'd be here talking to you. Never thought it was possible. And if you keep pushing, doors are going to open. There are people who you never encounter because I never met Mr. Allen until last week, Thursday. There are people who they're going to find you magically. I say thanks to God because you're not going to know how it's going to happen, but when you start doing what you're doing, there are people who are going to be there to open doors, to help you open those doors, and to give you the opportunities that you need to propel yourself forward. So don't give up. The next point is to be grateful. Each day you get up, it will be, especially when you start having those sufferings and those trials and adversity, you're going to get up and feel like complaining. And I've done a lot of that. Get up and it's like, as soon as your foot hit the ground, your feet hit the ground, it's like you're thinking, oh Lord, I just don't want to get through the day, and you're just thinking about all the negative things that is before you. But that attitude, you have to change it if you really want to go through, to come out victorious. You have to start being grateful for what you have. What is it that you have that you're grateful for in this moment? You have life, right? Which is the most important. You have health, because you're not experiencing any symptoms of illness. You have a roof over your head. When you're home, you have somewhere to sleep, you have a meal before you. Those are things to be grateful for. You have your subjects. Yes, they're there, they're the foundation. Some people might say it doesn't make sense, but it does. Even if you're not going, you might not get a job from it, it makes sense. Because everything that you've done have helped you to grow and prepare you for the road ahead. So be grateful. Be grateful for those who are there for you, your family, your friends. Express gratitude. Thank God for them. Thank them for being there. So you're grateful for everything. And focus on the positive things in your life and less on the negative. It's easy to focus on the negative, but whatever you focus on, that's what grows. So if you know that whatever you focus on, that grows. They say misery loves company. So if you're miserable and you focus on the miserable things, then you will just attract miserable. So every time the negative thoughts come, because they're going to come. Negative thoughts are always, it's so easy for them to enter our minds. And sometimes I tell myself, I used to be like that. It's like, I find myself sitting down and just start thinking about all the worries and the problems that I have. And then when I do that, it starts making me feel sick. So I had to change that in January. I had to change that negative thinking and start putting myself and thinking positive. See myself somewhere else. Like, okay, I have this dream that I should be working or teaching or whatever. I just see myself in that position. See myself happy. You know, for the positive things in your life, be grateful for them, because if you're sick and in the hospital, then you have problems there. So if you're not, then be grateful for that. Next point is to give. Give to others. In your times of adversity, you're going to feel like, okay, it's all me. Nobody else matters. You're going to feel like, okay, especially if you're a giver, you're going to say, well, okay, I'm not giving anymore. Don't do that. But this is the time when you have to give. You know why? Because adversity, it causes you pain. Because it's in. It's challenging, it's something tough. But when you give to others, when you help others, it doesn't have to be giving them money. It could be helping them. They have a problem, you help them explore, solve the problem. One of the things that I did to help, because I couldn't give money, I started doing videos on Facebook and YouTube, and I started tackling problems that people have, and I started talking. Telling people, okay, your circumstances now does not have to define your circumstances down the road, wherever you are now. This doesn't even reflect where you're going to be. So I started to tell people the things that I wanted to hear for myself. And that's giving. Because you're giving of your time and it's free. There's no cost attached to it. You don't sell it, but you give it. You want people to, you want to help others, because by helping them, you help yourself. You're going through pain. I can remember walking in Cayman. I was walking in a hospital, and there are times when I had my stresses with police. But not because I had my stresses. It didn't mean that when my patients came to me that I treat them rough. I gave them the love and the attention that I needed for myself. Even though I was dissatisfied in my workplace, I didn't let them know that I was dissatisfied. I didn't let them know that I didn't want at times to be there, that I was experiencing pain. I didn't complain to them and tell them, oh, but my colleague did this or that. How are you today? Listen to what they have to say, because people come to you and everybody's experiencing crap in their life, That's the thing, we don't know it, but everybody, we have our issues, and sometimes we behave in certain ways only because we're trying to reach out. But it's natural for us when somebody comes to us and we're having stresses that we could say, oh, we don't have time for that because I have my own issues, but it can't be like that. You give what you want to receive back in your life. Give love, give attention, help somebody. You never know, because the same people you help, they're going to make you feel better just by expressing gratitude. When I was about to leave, I had patients like, why now you make the good ones leave? They were like, okay, can't believe you're leaving. Because and the appreciation that people show you when you've done good for them, it's a feeling that is worth having. It's worth helping others for. My next point, take care of yourself. Goes back to what I was saying, you have health. Take care of yourself. When you're going through difficulties, you're going to you might be tempted to neglect your health. And the quickest things you can grab when you're stressed out are the things that you don't need to prepare, right? The sweets, the sugary stuff, the salty stuff, the junk food. But this is a time where you have to be mindful of what you eat, because along with your stress that you're going through, you don't want to add to it by making yourself ill. Stress, it decreases your immune system, so it makes you more likely to come down with diseases. And along with that, if you're not eating healthy, that's two things going together to make you very sick. So you have to take care of yourself. And how do you do that? Reducing the sugar and the salt and the fats in your diet, and eating more fruits and vegetables. And in terms of meal preparation, reducing the frying, the stewing, and adding more curry. I love curry. It's healthy for the stomach. But adding more steamed, boiled, or baked stuff. And in terms of exercise, finding time to be active, even if it's just a little bit of aerobics, skipping a rope. It helps get rid of stress, and at the time when you're experiencing adversity, you're going to be stressed, and if you're sitting at home and you're not paying attention to what you're eating, and you're not moving as you're accustomed to, then you're going to gain even more weight, and that's bad for the heart. High blood pressure, diabetes, also you name it, it's just, diet, no exercise, it affects the whole body. and you yourself is like you're going to be tired, not able to function, not able to focus with the challenges before you. And you don't want to end up ill while you're experiencing these other things, because then you need money, right, to pay for whatever medications and all of that. So you have to take care of yourself. Grooming. Just because you're going through stresses doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay attention to your physical as well. We'll talk about the internal with the exercise and the eating, but grooming, presenting yourself tidily. You don't have to own the most expensive stuff. Like me now, I can't afford to go to a hairdresser to do my hair, so I do it myself because it's cheaper. And if I have a lipstick, then it has to last me forever because I can't afford to buy one every Monday. But you groom yourself and you do it with the basics, whatever you have. You trim your hair. If you can't trim it every 2 weeks, then trim it every month. Just comb it in the meantime. If it's a hairstyle that you wear, just make sure it's combed. But you know your clothes is clean. You present yourself properly, because no matter what you're going through, nobody has to know that you by looking at you. Let them come and find out that something is going on. Don't make them have to look and say, oh, she's just not taking care of herself, and he not, you know, you have problems. So you take care of yourself, you love yourself. You might develop self-hatred, being too hard on yourself, and being too hard, and just beating up yourself because you're going to make mistakes. But you have to love yourself despite your mistakes, despite whatever you did before. Just take the lesson from it and love yourself. Don't beat up on yourself, because you wouldn't accept somebody else beating up on you, right? So don't beat up on yourself. You have to love yourself regardless of what you've done, how you look. Nurture yourself, love yourself. Even if you have to tell yourself that I love myself, if you have to keep repeating it just to get it in, because sometimes we hate ourselves, and when we hate ourselves, then we hate others. Because if we can't love ourselves, then we can't love others. So we have to love ourselves even while we're going through what we're going through. Under taking care of yourself, it comes back to spiritual, emotional, and mental health. Finding the time to relax. Listen to music, soothing something, going out in nature, going for a swim, going for a walk. Finding time with positive people, having positive conversations, having a laugh, listening to some funny video, just laughing for the sake of laughing, I like to see somebody crack there. Sometimes I look on Facebook and I read comments and all I do is just laugh. Because it helps, right? And I talk about build your knowledge base, self-education, and we spoke about that before, where you seek opportunities. I did not have money to invest in anything concerning my book. When I was doing my book, I went online and I read what people had to say, talked to authors who wrote children's books. I read what they had to say. I looked at videos, and I tried to get free resources, because what I was doing is educating myself. When I started my website, I didn't know how to build a website, and I couldn't afford the price that was quoted to me, because I already paid for the hosting, which was quite a bit of money, but then I couldn't afford to pay for the design of the website. You should have seen the first website that I did. Man, it was the funniest, always something. Because I really, and then on top of that, when I did the website, I had some people went and they laid it into me. One of them emailed me and they told me, they started pointing out all the flaws with the website. And the last thing you need when you don't know and you don't know, there's somebody pointing out all the flaws. Come on! I am literally just trying to grab a straw to hold up above the water, and all you're doing is beating me down and telling me how that needs to be done. That if I knew that it needed to be done, if I knew how to do it, I would have done it, right? So at first, you're not going to have it perfect, but it doesn't mean that you can't try. my website now. I posted my website from day one, and you should visit my website. That's my, and you know what? You see, after you've gone through all of that, and people trying to beat you down and telling you how it, whatever you're doing and whatever, you see, when you perfect that, it's not perfect, but when you get it to some extent, you're going to be so proud of yourself. You're going to, so you keep educating yourself. So I didn't give up when I was told my website was the worst thing. I didn't give up. As a matter of fact, I had a point to prove. When they told me my website was so bad, I'm like, I got mad. Yes? I didn't respond to the email. Because you have to, I knew it was bad. And I wasn't going to be bold-faced to say, I'm going to respond and tell you whatever. I just took it and I said, but this course is cruel because I'm down. And I don't need anybody else beating me down. It hurt me, it really hurt, but I took the criticism and I said, you know what? I'm not going to quit my website. I'm going to learn. I went for tutorials on WordPress. By the time I was done, I understood the basics, and I can actually help other people do their website simple right now without any formal training. So self-education, and it's key because education alone is not going to get you where you want to go. It doesn't matter how many levels you have. Some of the responsibilities are going to lay at your feet. You have to educate yourself. You have to seek, because no matter academics, it prepares you for one thing. But if you want to grow outside of that, you have to educate yourself. And it doesn't mean that others will not be teaching you, but what it means is that you will not be attending formal school for that. You're gonna have to, just like I'm doing here, you listen to videos, attend seminars, you seek out the resources. You're gonna have to find those yourself. You know your weaknesses, identify them. During times of adversity, you're gonna have to build and to focus on your weak areas. You know what? Let me tell you what was one of my weak areas: talking to people in crowds. In January when I started, I remember doing my first video, and man, I was scared. That my daughter is doing there. I took it and I had it before me, and I still was trembling, even though nobody was there, because I knew that I had to overcome this fear, because I've done speaking before, because part of my practicum was to teach a class of like 60 something. But even when I did it, they didn't know, but I felt very uncomfortable and overly anxious about it. And I didn't practice any of this that I'm telling you here, and I don't have most of it on there. But when I did my teaching, I actually just pacing up and down and timing myself and just trying to get it in. So when I knew the content before I went in front of my students, that I knew what to tell them. But this is a little bit different now, because I realized that even though I had a master's degree to focus on education, in order to really help people and to really talk with them, I had to get over my fear of talking to people. And that was my fear when I started in January. I did my first video, second, third. You can see me, it's like really uncomfortable in them. But I knew I needed to really improve my communication skills. And I said to you that if you have 50 skills, you can't develop them all at one time. You're going to have to pick those areas that are key, that you really, that is closest to what you want to do, and develop those areas. 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 skills. Because while I was doing my communication with the videos, I was also doing my website writing, and I also was building the website. So that's 3 skills I was trying to develop at the same time. So don't spread your energy all over trying to accomplish 50 things. Just focus on those that are related to what you want to do. Okay, that's close. Right, live in the moment. Live in the moment. When you're experiencing adversity, don't do like I did. Start thinking about what's going to happen 1 month from now, 3 months from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Don't do that. If you do that, you'll be walking yourself up into a frenzy and worrying about things that sometimes don't even happen. Because I was worried that I would have been thrown out on the street. Because I don't have a job, I would have been thrown out on the street. But you have to live in the moment. I live in the moment. I refer to my book, On Call, Lost in the Moment. I remember last year, December, an potential opportunity came to me. I applied for a nurse educator post in St. Thomas, and they were willing to take me on because the dean called me up and she was wanting to know if I had the qualifications to in terms of the licensure for the US, but I didn't have that. I needed to write an exam, the RN Flex exam. I only had less than a month, and I was also facing challenges where I was living. I had an apartment where there were moles in it, and the landlord was giving me stress. I just moved in. So along with that stress, I am here. Somebody offered me a job, but I needed to get my license so to do the exam. But I didn't say no. I know it was a long shot, but I didn't tell her no. I told her I will do my best to get the exam done. I scheduled the exam without even studying. I've been out of nursing for 2 years plus. But I just had to, I was desperate. And scheduled the exam, and less than a month ago, I knew it was a long shot, and I tried as much to get in as much. And even while I'm doing that, I've been distracted by the landlord and the boards. Eventually, I went to St. Thomas to do the exam. And I failed the exam. I didn't know at the time, but when I went for the exam, I remember after the exam, I went to the hotel and I just got real scared. And I started looking up on the computer, trying to find the answers. It's like I was just so stressed out. I came back home and had more than a half an hour conversation with one friend and then my sister. And I slept the night and woke up the next morning, keep looking for a thing. And then you know what? I said, you know what? I have to let this go. I had to let it, whatever I did was done. I couldn't turn it back by walking myself up into a frenzy. And so I put it in a book called On Call, Lost in the Moment, where I shared my good moments and my moments of desperation during that travel, and just to say that, at the end of the day, life is best living in the moment. Because if you worry too much about what's going to happen down the road, you're not going to live to see that, because you're going to be so stressed that you might give yourself also high blood pressure or heart attack. So live in the moment, do yourself a favor, don't look too far ahead. You don't have control over that. What you have control over is whatever is happening in the moment. And I used to think that the circumstances outside will affect your happiness, but it's if you wanted to. You have a choice to be happy or not to be happy by choosing what you think and what you do. So even while you're going through stresses, you have moments when you cry, because I've had my moments, but you will also have moments of joy, and you make a determination that I'm going to have more moments of joy than moments of sadness. Because you're going to need to find that joy in order to push you forward. One more point, last point. Do not quit. Whatever you do, don't quit. Rest, re-energize, but do not quit. Celebrate your small wins when you have small wins. I can remember when I published one of my first books before I did the children's book. when I saw that somebody bought it for the first time, man, you should have seen me. It was only like 99 cents, but I was really happy because there's somebody buying my book for the first time. So you celebrate your small wins. Don't say, oh, I want to have it all, just because you're going to need those small wins or those moments of joy to help to give you that faith to move forward. And I want to end with a quote. When adversity strikes, that's when you have to be the most calm. You want to write it down? When adversity strikes, that's when you have to be the most calm. Take a step back. Stay strong. Take a step back. Stay strong. Stay grounded and press on. And that's by LL Cool J. So everybody got that? No. Okay, let me read it again. When adversity strikes, that's when you have to be the most calm. Take a step back. Stay strong. Stay grounded and press on. And that's by the singer LL Cool J. And that's my message for you today. Whatever you do, don't quit. Stay strong, stay calm, refocus, re-energize, and press on. So remember, if you go out and you apply 50 jobs and they don't take you, it's not the end of the world. It's just a new opportunity for you to choose another direction. So all the best in your future. All right?